Ludus, Vulpes.
Welcome to Ludus Vulpes. My name's Kirsty.
And I'm Phil.
You join us with episode 2 of our design series.
So in episode 1 we talked about the sort of design process as was, the sort of creative element of that, and getting to a point where we got this game called Overgrowth in our head, even though it was scraps of paper on a dining table. Kirsty's going to show the box again. Look at the box, look at the box.
Can we take our design hats off?
We can take our
while
design
we're talking
hats off, yeah.
seriously.
And we didn't mention on the last episode, but we got this, where we live, we've got a little wildflower meadow just outside of our window, and we were, part of the sort of design theme for the game was actually having that meadow come to life on a board, and so that's where our theme comes from for Overgrowth. It's two plants trying to out-dominate each other in the meadow.
Like that.
So that was episode 1. Episode 2 now is very much talking about taking it from scraps of paper to the next
Advanced prototype.
Playtesting, because that's actually very important.
And we found out how important it was as well, didn't we, Phil?
We did, yes. So we ended episode 1 with a rough prototype, and that was something that was nice, but it wasn't very portable, being a dining table or a large glass chessboard with bits of paper. So we wanted to look at we wanted to do two things really. We wanted to look at how we could get that prototype into a portable, manageable thing that we could take around and share with people.
So that we could actually play test with people.
Yeah, and then the other thing, as things transpired, it made sense at the same time to think about where we were going to manufacture.
Yeah.
And although we've already mentioned that we're very proud to design, produce and manufacture the game entirely in the UK, at that point we hadn't got any manufacturing partners. And so we got
a couple of quotes, didn't we?
Yeah. There's one from the China place, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah. One from Europe.
One from Europe. And we then also started to think about what that might look like. So. And
I think for us, it was something that we really wanted to do, wasn't it? It's always been your dream to become a board game publisher.
I think publishing a game, designing a game is something that most board gamers want to do. Like it's just a thing, and it's natural that you'd want to change your creative idea into something that other people are playing. Yeah. By the way, it's quite scary.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
We will talk about that certainly in the next episode as well. So it also became increasingly important that we try and be part of the creative process when it came to actually manufacturing as well, which meant China and Europe were pretty much taken off the table. But we had some problems then, because you've got to find a manufacturer here, and there aren't many.
No, there really aren't that many people who manufacture games in England, Scotland, Ireland or Wales, as that might be.
We kind of stepped out of the box a little bit. So when you think about board games, most of you will think about a nice board or a set of cards that you're going to put on the table and you're going to play. But we'd already said in our design brief we wanted it to be something that people felt like they could just leave out, not put away, not feel like embarrassed maybe. We've all had that moment when someone asks you what your hobby is and you say board games, and then you try and find out which cushion to hide under. So it was something we wanted to...
Like Monopoly.
Like Monopoly. No, not quite. Yeah. And therefore we wanted something that we could leave out. And Kirsty then, who in her proper job,
these are all my jobs.
These are all your jobs. Makes jewellery, and we also host artisan markets.
We do,
and so we know a lot of artists and crafters,
and some very, very talented artisans.
So Kirsty decided that she might reach out in her network to see if anyone could support us in producing a game.
And we were very, very, very lucky to be able to reach out to Mike. And Mike has basically changed himself a little bit recently, hasn't he? He has. So when I first met Mike, he was the little carpenter. and created all wonderful things out of wood.
Honestly, he's freakishly small, like this big, the little carpenter.
No. He, after a little chat about board games and whatnot, and he has a little bit of a niche.
Yeah,
games,
Kirsty said to him, "You should go to Here for Games. This is not
Last
this
year.
year, the year before, and have a go with just some of the gaming accessories that you've got. You've got a couple of gaming accessories. Have a go with that and see what you think."
So we met him there. There is a video actually of Mike from Laser Edge Gaming from last year.
And this year, actually. But
And this year.
Look 2 years back.
Yeah. And I was like, just have a look, have a feel. There might be something that you feel a connection to. Skip forward to 2024, and the little carpenter is no more, and Laser Edge Gaming is booming.
Laser Edge Gaming. Yeah.
Is that?
I don't know.
I'm gonna find out tomorrow if that's a real thing. Like Laser Edge.
I just made it up. It's
Oh,
fine.
okay. I wasn't sure if it's something that you and Mike did. No, man on man thing.
No, man on man thing. Can we? That's not. It's not that kind of video. Kirsten.
Okay.
So Laser Edge Gaming was born. Mike actually stopped his day job and started producing gaming accessories, mainly for D&D, Magic the Gathering. But he was a carpenter. So we gave him a call.
Yes, we did. We were on the phone for about an hour with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he started out with like, "Mike, do you want to make a board game with us?" And he was like, "Tell
What?
me more." And so we talked about, instead of having a cardboard board, what if we had a wooden board? What if we didn't?
MDF.
Yeah, what if we didn't take the tree and make it into pulp and then cardboard? What if we actually kept it as wood and had a wooden board or an MDF board or something? And Mike then came back with the idea of, well, he knows that he's got a local sawmill. All carpenters should have one of these. And they do oak planks, which are roughly 20 centimetres wide by about a metre long. Obviously, this is not 20 centimetres by a metre.
It's 21 centimetres.
But it is 21 centimetres wide.
Box.
And he was like, "Why don't we just do MDF's nice and easy to work with, but why don't we do it in oak, because it'll have the finish will be beautiful, and we've got a reliable sawmill. We can actually manufacture the boards." And that was like, well, actually, that
Sounds like a great idea.
that's interesting, because we'd already got the boards drawn out, so we could start to draft it on a bit of paper and send it over to Mike so he could build it in. So we sent all the, we kind of broadly agreed that we would work with Mike, and then we sent him all the digital files over for the board,
Yeah.
and he produced us an MDF prototype.
He did. We went over to his lovely little workshop and we watched it being made in the beautiful machine.
And then
The big green machine.
I hand painted tokens, a lot of tokens.
Yes, you did. Paint tokens. Yep.
And they looked a bit rubbish, but
They were fine for the prototype.
they were fine for the prototype. So we hand painted tokens. We had a MDF board that
We
was
did.
laser etched.
We did.
And you'll be seeing some photos of that over my face. We'll leave Kirsty's face on screen maybe.
Yeah, it's fine, I'd say.
And that prototype board is not the same as the finished board, because we
No.
then play tested it.
Yes, we did.
So we invited some friends.
And some non-friends.
And some non-friends, and asked them to have a go. See what they thought.
And so, bearing in mind, we played and played and played and played, and we played against different people, and we played against each other. And one day, of all the people, we were at my grand's house, and I was trying to teach my gran this game, and she's, she's quite good at games. It's not really her type of game, but, I'll give it a go. And we sit there, and I say, okay, all right, Phil, so let's just show Granny. So, let's both start in the middle. Let's mirror each other's goes. And then, the game's broken.
We played about 10 games in rapid succession because we're familiar with the game.
Yeah.
And we'd not picked it up in multiple playtests at all, which also suggests that some gamers are a little bit polite. And it's actually something to think about from the prototyping and the playtesting stage. When you're playtesting, it is advisable to not be in the room, I think, for some of the playtests.
Yeah.
And that actually becomes really important, because if people like the game and like you, they will miss potential flaws in the game, as had happened through multiple layers of playtesting. So we played it 10 times in a row, and
it was broken.
it really was broken. And we got to the point where Kirsty won every game by starting first, and then we switched. I started first, and I won every game. So it's like there's a definite first player advantage. It's actually quite a significant first player advantage.
Yes, yeah.
And so at this point, we're a bit broken because we got very excited, and we were at a point where we thought, actually, we can have maybe some copies ready for UK Games Expo, but we were only about a month out from Expo at that point. And so
I think it's about a month and a half.
It might have been a month and a half. And so we then decided
let's redesign the game.
Let's redesign one action, actually. What it turned out to be was redesigning one action, and that actually resolved the problems that we'd got, which was quite nice. And we battered each other senseless with the game after that, and
over and over again. And we got other people to do it, and other people to play us, and other people to play each other, and random strangers. Here, play this game.
But it did generate a second victory condition, so it did add another layer of complexity into the rules, which was quite nice. And actually, the game became a bit more rounded because of that.
Yes, it did. Yeah, it wasn't a one-trick pony. You can only do one thing. There are two routes to victory.
So we after about another 2 or 3 weeks, we were back to having a game.
Yes.
So we got a board, we got tokens. We didn't have a box.
We didn't have a box, and actually, we talked about having it at Expo, but unfortunately, we had a bit of a string of bad luck, didn't we? I would say a string of bad luck. It wasn't us personally, but 3 people we knew fell ill in quick succession, which meant multiple trips to hospitals, both in England and abroad, to try to support family. And one of those was my gran. One of those
my dad.
was your dad.
And then your brother-in-law.
And then my brother-in-law on the day of his wedding as well, which was not ideal, but yes.
That was what, a week before Expo, maybe a week and a half before Expo?
Yeah.
Something like that. So we scoured the internet and various forums to find a box manufacturer, and we found in the UK Dice Sports based in Sheffield, which was convenient for us because my family are from Sheffield, and it meant we could double down on a visit to go and see Rob at Dice Sports. As it turned out, we spent a little bit more time in Sheffield than we were anticipating because my dad ended up in hospital. But it did mean that we actually got to go and speak to Rob and understand his process and how he runs Dice Sports and what he can do for you. And he's an incredibly knowledgeable guy. And if you are thinking about, even if you're just thinking about a prototyping and things like boxes, and he's a really good guy to speak to. We can highly recommend Dice Sports.
He's very experienced. And you'll be amazed. You'll know a game that he has created the box for or prototype for. You will have definitely played one of the games that he's created. You just wouldn't necessarily know it was created by him.
So,
produced by him.
We had a box.
Yes. So this box was designed and created during in and out of hospital visits for people, and we were backwards and forwards in with Rob, and they're a wonderful team there, because we probably did their head in with all the questions.
Yes, lots of questions.
Sorry, Rob.
Lots of questions, but also lots of solutions and lots of ideas. And so it actually got to a point where we actually placed an order with Rob for some boxes.
Yeah. And
we got Mike on the go.
Yeah, we did.
And we were at a point of producing a game. Rulebook. And Kev Abbott's. Thanks, Kev.
You legend.
So, the things that you think are going to be easy, rule books are not easy. And I have read a lot of bad rule books. I've read a lot of average rule books, and I've read some good rule books. Now, I'm not saying our rule book falls into the good category, but it's above average. And it took the best part of it. This is two sheets of A4, and it took us 2 weeks
full time working
to get it right.
Yeah, so I'm sure you'll point out all the flaws.
Yeah, but don't assume because you know the rules of a game
that everybody else does.
And so we sent a copy of the rules to a friend of ours.
Yeah.
He has worked on various sort of graphic design projects, proofreading projects, rules testing projects, and he absolutely tore the rules to pieces.
He did.
Asked more questions than you could ever possibly imagine.
Yeah.
But we came back with a final rule book, and on the day it went to print,
Yeah.
I realised we'd not got a picture of the board in the rule book at all. So we added that in just as we were sending the files over to Rob for him
Which meant a whole rejig graphically of everything,
'cause it's tight.
which wasn't a 5-minute job.
Yeah,
Thank you, Phil.
The rule, the sort of footprint for the rules is very tight on the sheet of A4 paper. So we worked hard to get that right.
There's a reason why we limited ourselves to that size. We wanted to make sure that standing between two players, if two players are opposite each other, you could have the rule book folded in half with each of the actions showing and used as a reference point for your first play or your first second as you get to know the game. That was really important to us, and so to enable that, everything else had to then shrink into a smaller space.
So, just going to do this little thing. I'm going to put the overhead camera on and we're just going to open this box.
Oh, you're going to do that this one?
We're going to do it very briefly. You're going to get a glimpse, and after a glimpse, we're going to say goodbye. Kirsty, do you want to do the honours?
Let's take a side each.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay. So there you go.
It's exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So thank you for joining us for part 2 of our design diary for Overgrowth. If you've liked the video, please like and subscribe.
Don't forget, we're also on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, also known as X. Just search for Ludus Vulpes.
Thank you for taking the time out to watch us today.
And we hope you've enjoyed this video.
We'll see you soon.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.
Bye.